Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Tino from The Sophisticated Man. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. How's everything?
Life is doing great, man. Just enjoying things and having fun at the same time. A little busy. Actually, I just started packing today because I'm going to be moving in the middle of December, and I got a lot going on. So I figure if I'm gonna start packing, I better start a little early.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to be ready. You don't have to be cramming last minute to get everything packed.
Right, exactly. So how about you? Anything exciting going on in your life?
Yeah, just business as usual, man. Just been busy with content and got a couple plans for this weekend to do some like really cool content ideas and just try some things out. But yeah, it's been just been busy. It's been grinding.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, let's get rolling to the show. So today we kind of want to talk about the importance of why it's important to take a little break from dating. Like, because I think we kind of go out there, we date, and sometimes we get frustrated with it, or we meet someone, we get that doesn't work out, and we get frustrated. And I think we need to take a break. So why is that important?
hmm Well, I'm glad you bring this up because I think this is an important distinction that guys need to be aware of. And when we're talking about taking a break from dating, there's really two different ways of doing that. Now, there's one group of guys that they maybe like they don't have very much success with women and they feel like, oh, well, I'm just putting in the work and nothing's happening. And they just get frustrated with themselves and they take a break or they tell themselves I'm taking a break. It's I'm just putting it on the back burner, not worrying about it. That's almost like you're kind of avoiding dating because you're afraid to kind of actually like work through the pain and work through some of the things that you're doing or doing
Hmm.
wrong. But then there's like another set of guys who maybe don't have quite the foundation set up. They don't really know what their lives look like as men. They don't know maybe what hobbies they're doing. They don't have goals. They don't have purpose. They're not really doing much else. I think in that sense, it's better to take a break from women because you're trying to set up your foundation first before you can even entertain women like that. So
Hmm.
I think there is a difference, and I think that it's usually better when there's nothing wrong with taking time away from women just to focus on yourself and to get things situated, but understand the intention behind it because there is a big difference.
Right, exactly. No, I hear what you're talking about with the frustrating thing because, I was there a while ago too, where I got frustrated with even just trying to go socialize with women, and just got to the point where I wanted to, I just said, okay, well, this isn't for me. I got to take a break, but I was using that as an excuse not
Mhm.
to try it all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a bad thing
Yeah.
because when you don't go out there and you're not taking action, you're just moping instead of taking action, you're not going to get the experience. And you're
hmm
and you're going to keep using that as an excuse, and not just with women, but in other areas of your life as well.
Totally. Yeah, and that's the exact point I was making is guys will use that as an excuse because it's like, oh well, I'm just gonna focus on myself. But meanwhile, it's like you could still do that and enjoy your social life and actually enjoy having women in your life. You're just making that excuse because what you're doing obviously isn't working, and what you're doing
Mhm.
is producing results that you just don't want. So it's being aware enough to know that whatever you're doing, maybe change your approach, change the way you're communicating, change the way that you're showing up, your energy, how you go about introducing a woman into your life. Some of that stuff might be the bigger problem because I've seen it before where, you know, there's a lot of movements out there right now that a guys can get into because they just kind of avoid women. They look at that as an issue and they purposely stop dating or stop going out because they just don't want to they don't want to be in a less than ideal situation. They're trying to avoid pain. And I think at
Right.
that point it could be negative because then you're just running away from your problems. That's not really a way to fix it.
Right. No, no, that's true, man. And I think those people are also in a fixed mindset too. They don't think that
Yeah,
it's possible to change, and you got to
for
have
sure.
that, mindset that you can change because that's
Mhm.
just going to help you um, break out of your comfort zone. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there who they give it an effort or just don't put in enough effort, and they let a couple situations or experiences that they have with women knock them down, and they just like, well, I'm just going to run away from that. I'm going to complain about women. I'm going to blame the problem on women rather
Right.
than trying to solve the problem myself and taking things, realizing that it's me. Because like, it's weird because I used to, like, when I was having trouble with women, I always used to blame, well, yeah, these women are bad because of this. Oh, this is their problem, not mine. But really,
Mhm.
I was looking at, when I had the time to like look within myself, I realized that I was the problem. I was the one not taking the action. I was the one running away in fear instead of taking action when I should be taking action. I was the one who had the wrong mindset about things. And that's what you got to have, that awareness. And so you can, in yourself, so you can actually make that change. But most people don't want to do that. They just
Mhm.
comfortable where they're at.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's easy to take that route, and it's easy to blame your problems on other people and say, "Well, it's because of this, it's because of that," instead of actually holding the mirror up to your face and saying, "Well, what can I do better?" It does come down to accountability and down to ownership. A lot of the times that if you're having issues in your life, I'd say 99% of the time, it's probably something that you can do to fix it, or something that you can do to change it. Um, so there's just a point that comes where you need to really reflect on your approach. And that could be business, that could be with women, that could be with just generating any kind of like social connections, relationships, whatever it really is. Look at your actions, look at your mindset, look at your ability to communicate. Something is probably off in any
Mhm.
of those areas. So it's just being able to kind of take ownership in that.
Right. And I realized, like, I was, and this is something I still work on to these days, but I carry a lot of judgments about,
Yeah.
I judge the situation when it comes to a woman. Like, I think
Hmm.
that because, it's no, there's no problem with having, I mean, judgment, it can be good and bad, but, it derives from your past experiences. And I brought
Mm.
all my past negative experiences that I've had with women into the, and I project those onto the, like, I realize I project those onto the women that if I want to talk to a girl or something like that, I'm like, I
Yeah.
think that girl didn't want to talk to me, that this girl that I won't see now won't want to talk to me or will blow me off. And that's a
Hmm.
bad thing to have, because like, I think it really keeps you from having a growth mindset and everything. But it's good to have the awareness. I actually have another mentor that I was working with not too long ago. I told him some of the problems I face is like, I'm afraid to take action sometimes because I judge a situation. This is just not with women, but
Hmm.
my mind with people who I know. And he just said, you just got to, you're doing yourself more harm than good by judging people. You got to go out. You just got to put the judgments out there and realize they're just nothing, and accept what the outcome might be.
Hmm. Yeah, you got to be outcome independent, and that's the biggest thing that I've learned just in any endeavor that I go about doing in life, whether that's business related or relationships. Just you can't be too attached to what happens, and you'll find that to your point about the judgment thing, a lot of guys do that, and you find a lot of women they have that same kind of thing with like the horoscopes. Oh, well, I had a bad experience dating an Aries, so that means every Aries that I talk to is going to be like terrible or something.
Oh, I
And
know what you're talking
it's
about.
like,
Yeah.
where's the logic in that? Because you had a bad experience with so many guys, then just because I'm in the same sign, the same birth chart, I'm going to be the same kind of experience. It's just you can't, jump to conclusions and make assumptions just because you had a bad experience one time. Like
Hmm.
if you tried a bad food, for example, or you went to, let's say you had a bad experience with an investment, a stock, for example, and you lost all your money, you just didn't know how to manage it properly. So are you gonna, like, for future references, are you gonna ruin all chances of you ever investing again? Would you never
Hmm.
invest in that stock again because you had that bad experience? Now, there's a difference too between learning from your mistakes, but also realizing that it's always a case by case. You could have a different experience if you do the same thing, if
Hmm.
you just change up your approach about it or your mindset around it. So,
Right.
yeah,
That's the
the
thing.
judgment
Like,
thing's big.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you can't, like, because you had a bad experience with one particular thing, that's maybe real. That's when you get into another situation that's related to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta you gotta kind of take a step back and have some awareness, to make judgments and stuff. Because like I said, you could be missing out on a great opportunity.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but no, that's true. But like, but I think too, like talking about like, taking a break to find yourself. That's a
Mhm.
good thing too. I think a lot of guys,
Yeah.
like when they're first trying to, get into dating or become good with women, they focus more on women and themselves. They think that
Yeah.
they're concerned about like how many dates they can get. They're concerned about like getting in shape for a woman, all about the woman, and they
Mhm.
forget about themselves.
Yeah.
I had a friend, it's so weird because like when I first came here, but we don't talk anymore. But like we'd always go out and we go to these like self development seminars, and we always go out and talk to girls and stuff. But it just got so weird because like at one point I was starting my business up. And I had a couple other things I was focusing on that kind of kept my mind off girls. So it was just kind of boring all the time to just
Mhm.
talk about girls and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the reality I think for most men is they put all their attention on women and they put all of their focus on, well, I got to get jacked because women like it. I got to make money because women like it. I got to do this because this girl likes this activity. When in reality, like all that's doing is just you're seeking their validation. You're seeking their pat on the back and say, "Wow, that's cool, man. Like good for you." But you should
Hmm.
never do that for anybody else's opinion of yourself. You should do it for your opinion, because that's coming from the ego. You're led by your ego at that point because you just want people to acknowledge you. You want that approval. But
Hmm.
but if you do something for a higher purpose, a higher reason, maybe you want to create impact, you want to create generational wealth, you want to create some type of good relationship. That's a much more deep and fulfilling reason to do something. So I agree 100%. Like guys guys prioritize women way too much, and even when you have your stuff together, like you have a business or you have good money coming in, you have a good job, you're set up in your career with your fitness and everything is in point. At that point you still have to focus on those things, you still have to maintain them, because if you take your eye off the ball for a second, all that can go. And my belief is, like, women are always going to be there. They're always going to be around, whether it's the same girl or different women. There's always opportunities to get more women into your life. But that career or that potential business or anything that you're trying to do, that might be gone if you let that focus go. So it's
Hmm.
it's very important for men to have their priorities in order.
Hmm. Have you ever at one time had to put yourself in check because you realized like you got like a woman distracted you from your path and everything?
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, that was literally my life up until I was like 23, 24 years old. I just focused on women, and then I was in school still, so focused on school and getting in good shape and trying to get laid. That was like the only things that I cared about. And anytime I got with a girl who was maybe potential to be a little bit more serious, maybe like a long-term relationship, I would just put so much focus on her. I put so much energy into, how she's feeling, what she's doing, what she's thinking about, trying to hang out with her, all this energy. And it literally creeps women out. Like they might not admit it, but it's needy. And women do not like that because they want to be a part of your world. They don't want to be the whole thing. They don't want to be your entire world. And,
Hmm.
when you can do that as a man, when you can really set your priorities in order, have goals that you're focusing on outside of women, like bigger than just getting chicks, that's what keeps them around, because they see that you're an ambitious guy doing something. That's just always going to attract feminine women to you. So, yeah, I've definitely had that point in my life. And I know a lot of guys maybe are still there.
Hmm. Right. Have you ever like, well, say, well, outside of that, when you were on your path, like, because I know
Mhm.
you got a lot going on and everything right now. Have
Mhm.
you ever at one point been distracted because of that? And then, but you said like, okay, fuck it, you got to get back on point.
Yeah, you mean like recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. I mean, even in my last relationship that I was in, we would hang out 3, 4 times a week sometimes, and it would just be a lot. It would be a lot to handle, and having to worry about what she's going through, having to take care of her, having to do this, having to do that. And, we would cook together sometimes. So like having to
Hmm.
just always do things together. We really didn't have that much time apart. So even that eventually got to me at some point where I was like not going to the gym as consistently as I wanted to. I wasn't, as focused on like outreach as I am now. I was making content still, but it wasn't as engaged, I think, as and focused as I am like right now with content
Right.
because I am single. So there was even in a relationship, it could still get you caught up if you're not careful. But I think as a man, that's why it's important to just establish those boundaries with her and then with yourself too, so you don't get caught up in the mix because that's what like women don't even know that they're doing it, but they do. Like they'll draw you in, they'll get your attention, they'll make you very like I'm not gonna say weak, but they'll make you just like vulnerable to something if you're just always just like your focus is always on them. So
Hmm.
that's where boundaries come in. I think.
Right. No, I agree. You gotta like I think you could still do that, have a relationship, like you said. That's good that you gotta establish those boundaries and
Mhm.
everything. So like I think it's good to have a equal like a good amount of time together, but you also an equal amount of time apart, to focus on whatever it is she's gotta do and whatever it is you gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, space is just a natural, healthy thing, I think, in relationships because if you're seeing something every day, it loses its value a little bit. It's like if there was an overabundance of gold, for example, well, gold wouldn't be as valuable as it is because it's scarce. Scarcity creates
Hmm.
value. So if you're not always with your woman or always texting her, always calling her, blowing up her phone, she's gonna think about you a little bit more. So, man, what's Tino doing? What's he up to right now? Like, I wonder what he's doing. She's gonna want to reach out to you. So
Hmm.
it's not like and I know some guys might think that hear that and be like, "Oh, well, that's manipulative. You're trying to like, you're ignoring her." It's like you're not ignoring her per se. You're just putting your other priorities first, and you're
Right.
busy because you have a busy lifestyle. So it's also having the ability to remove yourself from that relationship every once in a while, like have that space because she should have stuff to do too. I doubt she's sitting around all day long waiting for a text. Like she probably has a life. I hope she has
Hmm.
a life. I hope she has
Yeah,
things that
right.
she's doing. Hopefully, that would be ideal. So like that space just causes you to just miss each other, and when you miss each other, it just builds that attraction.
Right. No, I hear you on that. I had an old boss who was married for a long time, and so he said that was the success to his marriage because like he
Yeah,
would work during the day and she would work at nighttime. So
yeah,
because he was a bartender, whenever he came home, he was gone.
hmm,
But they still spent some time together.
yeah,
And I do believe that, like, I think that is needed. That should is definitely needed in a relationship because no, I agree, dude. Like, yeah, happy to see the person all the time. It's cool,
mhm.
but I think that space, makes you miss that person, and you actually have, the fact that you miss that person, you actually have something to look forward to. You know what I'm saying?
You
But
do.
like every single day, it's like it's not going to be it's going to be exciting, but not as exciting.
Hmm. I mean, I'll even tell you from my experience, like my girlfriend, literally when we were together, she would tell me there in the beginning when we started talking, started to date, she'd feel excited because she wanted to see me and she'd feel excited to come over, like hang out with me, even if we were just like watching a movie or something. But after we were hanging out so many times per week, like I'm saying, it was like 3 to 4 times a week. It was a lot. And I'm already busy as it is. So like that is a lot of, that's a lot of attention on my side. And there'd be a point where she felt not as excited, like maybe like halfway through the relationship, a little more than half, she started to feel less and less excited to see me and less like enthusiastic and bubbly and all that when she started to see me. And she told me this. She was like, I just don't feel like that excitement anymore. It's just kind of going away. And then, obviously as a guy, I had to realize like, well, it's because I'm allowing her to see me so many times per week. It's hard to it's hard to really have that same level of excitement if you're just constantly seeing somebody And that's even with family. Like there's family members that I love, and we see each other all the time. But even then, like if I see you every day, I'm not gonna be as excited to talk to you about stuff and just share everything because we talk every day. It's just it doesn't have that same level of um
Mhm.
anticipation because you're always
Right.
around.
No, I hear you on that. So yeah, like I think, yeah, but there's got to be, there's always a workaround for some. But I agree though. But I don't know. That's just what that's what I've always heard too from friends who like you see their girls all the time and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I could be, I could, I told you I was doing the casual thing now. I got to figure out, well, when I get in, because I'm actually going to be seeking relationship now. I
Mm.
know it sounds fucking weird, but congratulations for growing up. And yeah, I just got to
Leveling
figure it
up.
out for myself again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was, yeah, I had that need to see the person like every single day.
Hmm.
But now that I got shit going on, and I have to work out a few, do a few compromises and stuff like that just to make shit work.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it can be an adjustment, especially if like you're a big people person and you like to be around people, maybe a little bit more extroverted. For me, it's a little easier because like I'm naturally more introverted, so like I have no problem just kind of like being by myself, doing my own thing. So that kind of comes naturally to me. But
Hmm.
just doing that and learning from my own experiences, there's just so much value in being alone and having that time to yourself, having
Hmm.
that time to work on whatever it is you want to work on. Because it's hard to really understand what you're passionate about or what you are interested in, what you're fearful of, where your goals lie if you just don't spend that time with yourself. That's why I talk about on my channel all the time. Like I tell guys to intentionally put themselves um, by themselves and to intentionally be alone. So you just kind of build that relationship from within. So that
Right.
way,
No.
when a girl does come along, it's easy because you already know who you are.
Hmm. Right. No. I enjoy being by myself too. I'm like a
Yeah,
mix.
yeah,
Because I get like if I'm too social, I just get drained, and I just
right,
have to be by myself because I got stuff I need to do, and
right.
I get guilty if I don't accomplish what it is I need to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. 1,000%.
So, I mean, like even this morning, I slept in a little late. I was just out with a friend last night, had a couple drinks and stuff, just catching up because it's been a while. Then another buddy called me up from back home, and I was on the phone for another hour. And I was like, okay, I have a beer or two. So I ended up just sleeping in until 10. And I felt guilty because I'm like, fuck, I wasted. Normally I get up at 8 o'clock. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I wasted like 2 hours of my time. Well, I say 2.5 hours because I had to have the coffee just to get ready.
Yeah.
But I made it happen, and so I was like, I'm like, fuck, I got all this shit I got to do today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in that because we have a bunch of friends or we have a good social life. It's really easy when you get that text at 8 o'clock and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Come out, come out to the bar, or come out, like grab dinner with some people that we're with." It's really easy to get caught up in that, especially if you don't already have things that you're doing or working on. If you're just sitting around, I mean, it's very hard to be like, "Oh, what else am I gonna do? I'm just sitting here doing nothing." So, I think it comes back to boundaries, and having that boundary around, well, I got to do this for myself. I got these goals. I really want to achieve these things. So, you have to be very conscious of where you spend your time and who you're spending it with. Cuz
Mhm.
my friend's the same way. He's a very social person, he's very extroverted. He always talks to people and he has a lot of connections. So, every time he comes into town, everyone he knows hits him up because they see he's back in town, so they want to see him. And he's like spread thin because like this person wants to hang out with him, this person wants to hang out with him, this person wants to hang out with him. And we've got to tell him multiple times, like, yo, like you got to just like be very intentional. Cause like if some of these people hit you up, they're not like close friends. They're like acquaintances you see every once in a while. So
Mhm.
it's important too to realize like who you're spending your time with. Is it someone that you see in your future for 5, 10, 15, 20 years that is going to add value to your life, and you add value to their life too, obviously. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
that's important.
being
Yeah.
aware of it.
No, I didn't. You made a good no. That's a good observation. So that
Hmm.
makes, that makes it very clear. Maybe like when it comes to the people I hang out with,
Yeah.
like because I value my time. So like I guess yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very good observation. So keep the ones who are going to important to you. So because I do tend to spread myself out too thin. I get that
Hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
Really sucks.
Yeah. It happens. Like that's how my friend gets. He gets all these requests to hang out, and then he's a very social guy, and like he's very accommodating. So he wants to make sure everybody's on the same page. He wants to make sure everybody's good. But at that point, if you're always giving to all these other people and like spreading your time that thin, like he doesn't feel fulfilled. He don't feel good about himself because he's like all over the place. So we've had to really coach him up a little bit and kind of be like, hey man, like settle down a little bit. Like this is like, it's cool that you got friends. It's cool that everybody wants to see you. That's awesome. But just
Hmm.
make sure that when you're in town, you're spending time with the people that matter most to you. Obviously, your family, people like us, where I see that guy as someone who's like a lifelong friend. So it's always going to be a good relationship with us and him. So just kind of realizing who's in your life and yeah, how you see that relationship panning out too.
Hmm. Well, see, and I know we're off subject right now, but like now that we're on the matter of time and stuff,
Yeah.
so this is part of the reason why another reasons why I'm considering just kind of looking for taking a break from the like just doing the player stuff because
Mhm.
it's just time consuming reaching out to
Right.
a bunch of girls, and then especially going on dates. And
Yeah.
with everything I have going on now, I realize that I gotta like take a. I think it's best for me just to focus. I mean, I'm sure if I have one person, I have to focus that time on that person.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's not gonna be as bad as trying to reach out to girls every night on the app. Take some time to talk to them, then set up a
Yeah.
date. You know what I'm saying? I
Yep.
mean, and there's nothing wrong if you want to do that, fine. Like, but I'm just getting to that. I'm at that point right now where I need to take a break from that and just focus on one
Mhm.
person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not there's nothing inherently bad about that. It's just kind of understanding if you're gonna do that, there is opportunity cost. And every time that you put into a new girl or you waste time trying to get another girl's number or this and that, like it's just so much that focus and that energy takes out of you. So if you are hanging out with some women, I think it's a better idea to hang out with women that you genuinely really like, that they have there's a good connection there. Cause I've done that too, where and I've had experience where I've talked to like 4 or 5 different girls at once and I'm trying to figure out what day do I put them into my calendar, where are we
Yeah,
gonna go, remember what their names are. Like it's so much like it's fun, but there does come a point where you're like, "Yo, I just can't keep up anymore. There's just so
yeah.
much to
It's a
remember."
burnout, man. Like
It
I
is.
at
It is a
one
burnout.
point I have like I go through phases where I get have 4 dates in 1 week.
Yeah.
And I could like it's like
Yep.
it was I was like, well, this is fucking awesome. I've never fucking had that.
Mhm.
In the end, I realized that was burning me out, and it got so burnt out to the point where I just didn't give a fuck. And like you flake, I'm like, thank God, I
Yeah,
can
you look forward
because
to it.
I can use that time to be doing something else.
Exactly.
But at
Yeah,
one point,
yeah,
my
it
ego
does
got in
get
the
to a
way. I'm
point.
like, this is awesome. I never thought I could do this.
Mhm.
Then once you go through that experience, you realize, well, for me, it takes a toll on you
Yeah.
because we got a lot of stuff going on.
Mhm. Here's my honest opinion on that. I think every guy, and I think you had a guest on your previous show that said this too. I think every guy at some point of his life, if he has like zero experience with women, he doesn't know how to socialize, he doesn't know how to lead, he doesn't know how to be masculine around women. If you're just like starting from ground zero, I think you're gonna need to get some experience, like start dating around, like
Mhm.
understand what you like, understand what you don't like, what are your boundaries, what do you tolerate, what do you not tolerate, and that might turn into having a couple different girls that you talk to. Now, I'm not saying you need to be sleeping with all of them. You don't have to, but kind of just get that experience and understand what it's like to live that lifestyle. And if that's something that you want to maintain for a long time, then go for it. But if you honestly think that it's not worth it, and you're more of a, you want to say traditional, but one woman guy, you date exclusively for long-term relationships. That's kind of in the phase of my life. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Then that's fine too. So it's just understanding what you want, understanding that when you make that decision, it comes from abundance, not because you don't know what it's like because you're not used to it. You don't have that kind of experience doing it. So if you choose to do that, choose to do it because you already had it. You already know what that's like.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and I know that's like, I know, yeah, it's fun. It is a fun experience, like,
Yeah,
definitely right. But yeah, and I think you're referring to my show that I had with King Dre, the pros and cons of the player.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, no, but that's true. You're right. Because like I I felt like I got some experience and stuff. A lot of
Mhm.
like sexual experiences,
Sure.
communication, being able to feel, just be comfortable around, girls and just, yeah,
Yep.
the leading thing. And
Mhm.
those are all qualities like I never had before,
Right.
so I got that.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, but yeah, I think I've just reached that point where, just because of a certain situation I got into where I realized that's probably best for me to like settle down. But because you got to be aware too, try not to get too carried away with that because
Mhm.
sometimes I think if you get carried away with being, the players shit, you're gonna be blinded to like certain opportunities that women who were very awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it can get in the way of attracting like a really high quality woman because, obviously she wants to be faithful to a guy who's kind of committed to her, he's devoted. So like even with that, like um you do have to realize like what it is that you're sacrificing and what you're willing to give up if you're doing that route, because there's benefits and there's negatives to everything that you choose to do in life. So kind of just be aware of that, and just be aware of what serves you the best right now. It might be one, it might be the other, but I think ultimately guys kind of have to make that decision on their own.
Yeah, but I think that it comes to a point just they'll after they go through the experiences. I think it just they'll reach a point where they have to decide which path they want to take. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, and
yeah,
it's
for
I
sure.
think a lot of that just it just it's based off the experience they get. And some
Hmm.
after meeting the girls, and and being through the situation, so they'll eventually reach that point where they have to make a decision, what they want to do, and they can either continue on doing what they're doing because they're like, hey, this is right for me, but they can continue to give that up for something better.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with being a player. It's really, I think, an experience. I should have done a vlogging series on this. I have
Hmm.
a lot of interesting stories. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's like one of the things I think I really liked out of everything, like it was just the experiences I've had with the women who I really hit it off with. Those were always the best compared to the ones that just kind of faded right away.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say like it does it to your point about like this, like when guys decide what to do, it just comes down to your values, and it comes down to kind of, I think, where you're at in your stage of development. Um, some guys stick with that for a long time and they choose a single life, but some other guys maybe want to start a family and start being more traditional in that sense. So it really just depends on what you want out of your
Mhm.
life and what
Yeah.
you're willing to bring into it. So it
Hmm.
does depend. And I was gonna make a point about what you just said. Um, yeah, like if you're gonna do if you're gonna do that, be honest. Yeah, I think guys get tripped up and they look at dating a bunch of different women and they think, well, I have to be deceitful, I have to lie, I have to do this and that. If that's what you want to do, like just be upfront about it and be honest and tell women like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I want to be casual. This is what it is. Um, I think the worst thing that you could do is lie and manipulate and just go behind their backs, because when they do find out, and they will probably find out eventually, it just doesn't end well. So if you're gonna do that, just be honest with your intentions, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. But um, Yeah, I think being truthful is the best strategy there.
Hmm. Right. And I think that, like, this is, I mean, this is, another thing too, that you guys, if they want to take a small break from dating, is just kind of, they come to that point where they're tired of player life, or, I mean, even with any situation with women, if they're dating someone and it's not going anywhere, I think it's good
Mhm.
just you can take a break just to kind of reflect upon that, and see what it is you want to, just see, like, for yourself, is this right, is this type of girl right for me,
Yeah.
just figure out what it is you want in someone.
Mhm. Well, I think that's, like, the most mature thing to do because I've seen this so many times in people people my age, they get into a relationship and then they break up and then immediately next week they're with another person and they're posting them all over their socials, they're showing them off and it's like you just broke up with someone, like you're
Yeah,
already with
really.
another person. It's like you don't give any of you can get yourself any time to heal, to reflect on the situation, to learn anything. You're already into something else. So I think the best thing that you could do, especially as a man, like if you're in a relationship and it just ended, like don't just jump to the next girl. Don't just start don't just start something new with another person. Just take that time to just understand what happened, what did you learn, what did you go through, and then after a while, then you can proceed. But if it's right after the fact, it's only gonna perpetuate that trauma onto the next person you're with.
Hmm. Right. Why do you think people, like, when they break up with someone, they hook up right away? Is it just like a need to be with someone, or?
I think I think that's part of it. I mean, I think some of it's too just insecurity and they feel like they they have to be with somebody. They have to be um chemically involved with somebody because I think what happens is like you spend enough time with someone, you start to develop that bond and you start to really just get used to this person being around. Like your body literally creates, I don't know, like pheromones or chemicals that get used to this person. I was
Hmm.
like reading that somewhere. It's like that's why it's so hard when you break up with somebody, you miss them because like you're just used to them being around.
Hmm.
So I think what happens is like people get so addicted to that feeling of always having a person with you or company that they don't want that to go away. So they just do it with a random person or they find someone else that they can share that with, just to keep that feeling, that dopamine going. So I think that's why like this people just get addicted to that. Um, but I think what people miss is, like, the pain, like, that pain period or that period where maybe it was, like, you're going through the breakup and you're sad and you're missing someone, like, you need to go through that, like, don't skip that step, because that's where all the growth is.
Yeah, and like you said, find time to be by yourself too.
Yeah, 100%.
'Cause then you'll get used to not having p like, when you fall into a situation like that, you'll be comfortable with being alone, and, I think, I mean, I guess, yeah, that's the one thing I guess you can say, like, going through this experience when I've had my offsets is getting that alone time and stuff, and 'cause
Right.
being able to do that, I can do that. I'm just glad I got a lot of shit I can do to, like,
Mhm.
keep my mind off things. I still think about things, but, I mean, when I stay busy, I mean, my mind's not focused on that, and that's a good
For
thing, and
sure.
that's why I say, go out there, find some goals that you wanna work on in your life and stuff, so, you can have that, focus you can focus on yourself by working on those goals and not be thinking about the situation that you got yourself into, because that's gonna help you
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Because when you're dating a girl and you guys break up or something happens, like, if all you had was her and she leaves, well, what's left? You're gonna be even more broken up because she's
Gotta
gone
have
now.
you gotta
There's
have
nothing else.
you.
Yeah, you gotta
Self.
have yourself. You gotta
Yeah,
have something
there you
going on.
go. That
Facts.
is true. That's why you gotta have the experience of, like, have fun. That's, another thing too is, like, just being able to have fun by yourself. Go out and do things by yourself because you
Right.
can do that. You don't have to be dependent, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Totally. Yeah, just if you take yourself to lunch, like, go to a movie. That's one of the best things that you could do, is take yourself to a movie that you really like or you really wanna see, and, like, your friends aren't they're not available, you have no one to go with. Dude, there's not a better feeling than going to, like, a 12 p.m. matinee to and go and see a movie, and it's, like, empty theater, and it's, like, a really good movie that you wanted to see. That's such a gratifying thing to do.
Right. I think the last movie I saw by myself was, the, Spider-Man: Homecoming movie.
That was a good one. I
That's
saw that by myself.
I think that's the last movie I ever saw by myself, and
That's
I think
funny.
after that, COVID hit or something, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to a few shows by myself. It's actually pretty fun.
Mhm.
And then I think then before that, I saw Avengers: Endgame when I was in Seattle. I was with my mentor in Seattle doing our
Mhm.
thing, and this guy liked to go to bed like at 7, 8 o'clock. I'm like,
Holy shit.
well, he's a cool guy, but he's interesting. So
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to go to the movies. So I went to the movies. I think the night before, I explored the entire area of, went to the bar scene in Seattle and stuff. And see, like
Mhm.
I haven't done much of this lately, but what I got to do is, well, I don't know if I could ever find time for it, but like, because I
Yeah.
have so much to do. But
Right.
I remember I used to, I got comfortable to the point where I can go out and do stuff on my own. I can go to a loud environment, like a club or something or a bar.
Mhm.
And the fact that I was able to socialize, with just random people, I can just start
Yeah.
conversations with people. And that would be my entertainment is just to kind of bring the fun into the party and, just kind of get to know more about them and, put myself out there.
Mhm. So that right there is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Like literally, if you go out by yourself, you go out solo, and again, you don't have to drink. Like you don't even have to get like loaded or anything. You could just start sipping water. If you
Hmm.
do that, that will test your social abilities more than like anything else. I remember I did that I think a couple years ago I went out solo, and that was one of my like most fun, most like entertaining nights that I remember because I
Hmm.
literally you're forced to make your own fun at that point. There's no friends that you can rely on. There's
Right.
nobody with you. You got to make your friends. You know what I mean? Like you got
Yeah.
to literally like enjoy the actual moment. And I remember when I went there, I went to a venue where I was like kind of
We got Offie Kingdom. Sorry, then Offie Kingdom's in the house right now. What up, Offie?
offy. What's up, man?
Yeah, Offie's coming
Um,
out to Arizona to visit me for New Year's.
that's what's up. That's what.
Yeah,
Hey, I remember you telling me that.
yeah. Rock on,
Um,
Offie. Okay, so sorry to interrupt. Just had to give a shout out.
No, you're good, man. You're good. I was just saying, I think when I went there, when I went to the bar, I knew the bar owner and I knew everybody in there, so it kind of gave me a little bit of social status at that point because I was like familiar with the bartenders. So I go in there solo, and they start talking to them. I start making friends with them because I already knew them, so I went somewhere comfortable, and then I saw a group of girls over like 10 feet away from me. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start a conversation. So I got that out of the way immediately. Like within 10 minutes, I was already starting conversations. And after a
Mhm,
while, they left. I started talking to the next group of people, then the next group of people, and then the next group of people, where eventually I'm like the center of attention and I'm not like trying anything crazy. I'm not
mhm,
doing anything like outlandish. I'm just having a good time. I'm talking to people. I'm being social. I'm like talking to different women, like different guys in there. It's just a fun time. So
mhm.
it's quite a challenge, and I recommend if you've never done that before, going out solo is it's really fun. It'll push you.
Yeah, I was so good at socializing with people when I go, when I'd be at the bar, try to get a drink. People would buy. I had some guys buy me drink because I was so cool, and they say, "God, you're like so different from everyone else because you talk. No one ever talks to anyone anymore. Everyone just kind of stays
Literally,
in their bubble."
they're isolated. Yeah, they isolate themselves.
That was a good habit to have. I think I don't know. I could probably find time to, but I have so many friends right now. It's just like I don't need it. But like I remember when one did too, as I didn't have to depend on my friends too, because I didn't know too many people a
Right.
while back. And like when people might be flaky, I can go. I can actually didn't give a fuck. I can go out and have a good time without my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people when they wanted to go to the bars and girls, they said, "Well, go talk to girls here." I didn't even I could do it all on my own because it's just the fact that you had that social exercise and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're just social. It's natural. It becomes natural for you.
It does. It does, and I think that was the biggest thing that it helped me realize too, is, like, I would always kinda make the excuse is like, "Oh, well, we're out. The reason we're having fun and talking to people is because of my friends, because of the people I was with," right? That's why women came up to us. That's why we would always have a good time. And I was kind of like limiting my own belief in myself because I said, well, I can't do this by myself. It's because of them. So I literally had to challenge that belief and go out by myself. And the same thing happened. Like, still, was center of attention, had a lot of fun. Not the center of attention. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I was definitely socializing with pretty much everybody there, and
Mhm.
was having a great time. I still talk to different women, women coming up to me. Like, it was very much the same kind of thing. So that kind of broke my old mental block of like, yo, I don't really need anybody else. I could still enjoy myself and have a good
Right.
time and be social, even if I don't have friends with me. So that's huge.
Right, and, another thing I did too is, well, doing meetups. I'm an organizer now. Like, I
Yeah.
started doing meetups, and I just find events, and I go out there and just learn to socialize with
Hmm.
people. And I'd ask them the same questions all the time, but that's how I got up there.
Yeah.
My mentor always gave me gave me a formula for, like, communication. When you talk, ask a question, then you kind of listen in, and you ask about the why and how, who,
Hmm.
what, who, and stuff like that. So
Yep.
I just practiced a lot of that, and I did some improv too to help me speak on the fly as well, just be more uh, spontaneous with conversation. I mean, I think it helped a bit, but I think the fact that that I just kind of went out there and took action to socialize, like that helped me out a lot more, because you had that experience and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is experience is going to be your best teacher. Like, you could sit there all day long and look at different videos, and I said this in the last video, but you could sit there all day long and just watch videos and content and read books, but until you actually get out there and try it, it's just a whole different game. It's a whole different ball game when you're actually in it and you feel it for yourself.
Yeah, no, and that's true, man. Like, I think, and you got to be, you got to go out there and open yourself up to that. You can't
Right.
close yourself off to that, because if you close yourself off to it, you're never going to be able to experience that.
Hmm. Yeah, because guys have that mentality of, well, that could never happen to me, or that's because he's better looking than me, he's taller than me, he's more muscular than me, like whatever excuse that they have. And that just doesn't do anything except prevent you from actually moving forward and testing those limiting beliefs. If you honestly believe that, I had a guy when I was making a video a couple months ago, I think, and I think I was talking about something with women. I was mentioning something about attracting women, and he commented down below. He's like, "Yeah, well, if you're 6 foot, 6 foot, he's like, if you're 6'5" and six pack and six figures, and it's easy. Like, that's all women want." I'm like, bro, seriously? Like, I'm not even close to 6 foot. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day, and I'm not close to six figures yet. But how am I still able to attract women? Like, it's not it's not as black and white and as guys think it is.
Right. It's funny you said that, because I have a friend who thinks the same way. So I just kind of laugh.
Yeah, that's what a lot of
But
guys
yeah,
think.
some guy who has all that can still lack the confidence and social skills to even talk to girls too. So
100%.
that might not even work for him. Like, it's a judgment that, he's someone
Mhm.
making a judgment on another guy. So,
Literally. Yeah,
but anyways, we gotta wrap up here because I got some adulting to do this afternoon.
I feel
Plus,
that.
I'm gonna be packing a little bit, like I told you, because
Mhm.
I figure if I'm gonna be moving in about a month from now, well, almost a month from now, I better start packing, because I'm got a bunch of other stuff going on. Better make some time now.
For sure. No, I
So,
know the pain.
but yeah, what do you have to say about the final thought? I give you the Jerry Springer final thought.
Yeah, my final thoughts are really to just, like, have your priorities in order, because I know the theme of the video was, taking a break from women, and is that okay? Like, what's the difference between taking a break because you have other things to do, and making that distinction. So just understand where your priorities lie as a man. If you're always focused on women and that's all that you have going on, well, when you remove the women from your life, what do you have left? So you have to focus on yourself. You have to put these things first. You have to have goals. You have to have things that you're building, because at the end of the day, you know, when you get old and you're 60, 70 years old, looking at the back of your life, and all you have to say is, well, I just got with a bunch of women. That's cool, bro. But did you actually create impact? Did you actually influence? Did you create generational wealth? Did you push culture forward? Did you do something to be productive? So I think that stuff
I
is
like that. Well
the
said.
most important thing to do. And yeah, just kind of understand where your priorities are.
Right. Yeah. And, I have to agree with what you're saying too. Like, it definitely, take a break. Get your priorities. Don't make it, like you said, think about women. Like, you're not making an impact on the world or yourself. Then, that's you got to do more, man. Like, so
For sure.
if you make everything about women, when you go through the situations, you're gonna like have nothing because all you think about is women. But if you
Hmm.
go in there and you set goals for yourself and you work on shit and work on becoming your best you as you go along, when it comes to that time, you'll look at the situation differently. You're not going to be as needy because like you have nothing around because you got stuff going on, and it's going to help. Plus, like, it's, just use that time to, like, reflect on your experience, and that will help you grow for the next person you meet. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I
Rock
agree.
on. So rock on. So where can we find you?
Yeah, if you just type up The Sophisticated Man, I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So type that up and you'll find me on there.
Rock on. And yeah, if you come to my Command Your Confidence, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I mean, the only other platform I'm on besides YouTube is Instagram. So that's at Command Confidence. I just started posting content into there again, like just doing little bits and pieces on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll do another show sometime. I'd like to do another show this month, or sometime before I move, and we'll close out the year with a bang and kick ass for next year, right?
Yeah, man. Sounds good to me, bro.
Rock on. Thank you very much, guys. And thank you guys for watching. Like I said, be sure to subscribe, like, and share the video. Peace.